My name is Elena Cox. I am co-founder and CEO of Vibeffect. And with me is one of my great colleagues. I love my team. We have so many fantastic people involved in this, but Murray Taylor, who's sitting up front here. And at Vibeffect, we are, oh, I'm supposed to do this. So we are, by the way, in the midst of talking with folks about a Series A. We are also in a fast growth stage. Currently, we've been working with and looking to partners who represent a number of higher ed university systems and or provide services to higher ed systems. We also have some individual university clients in both the for-profit and non-profit space. So we're happy to engage in any of those conversations. We are a full service, tailored SaaS solution. And I think this is the wrong presentation that was pulled up. Coronado was the title. That's okay, I'll work through what we have here, but what I want to emphasize is that while we can help with both yield and retention, we are directly focused on helping with growth, starting at the earliest stages of the student life cycle. And our initial engagement with the university goes through enrollment to show to the fact that the students are behaving in ways that they will be retained and will complete. This is definitely, I'll tell you what, I'm going to turn it off for now and talk for a second if you could get the Coronado presentation up. Oh, I have the disc, don't I? It's in the backpack. That's all right. We're supposed to have a 20-second elevator speech. We love our images, though, so I hope that I can maybe send it out to those of you that are interested. What we've done is we built, so there's a lot of applications of AI, technology, digital engagement that is going on in higher education, and that's great. What we wanted to do was to add to the educational science first, and then create the kind of engagement system that would scale success for everybody by taking a slightly different perspective. You've heard some presentations here where there's a lot of looking at the student. What are the traits of the student? What are the characteristics of the student? How can you get them to apply? How can you get them to make a choice? We wanted to take an approach that said, what is it inside the university ecosystem? What is it about that university's experience is that on a very personal level will drive the highest success for a student? So right now today, there's a whole bunch of students, 20 million students in higher education, whether it's an adult online or whether it's a young person going into a liberal arts college. And today, they're either having their best day, a mediocre day, or their worst day and they're thinking about leaving. We wanted to be able to pull out students that are having the highest optimized, thriving moment at their university and dissect what's causing that. So in our case, the data that we provide is additive to what everybody's learned about students by adding to it what predicts and what drives the highest amount of success for students. And what we found is that with our primary database that we've built over time, with 3.5 million data points, is that if you can turn that into a smart nurture system, then the students that are looking to go into college will be rewarded with information that lets them see transparently how others like them are thriving there, without any bias and without any presumption that one student's a better fit or another. We trust our partners to be doing good work in terms of recruiting students. We want to accelerate their growth. So one of the things we feel is that higher education has a very difficult time onboarding innovation, that it can be very cumbersome, that their teams are hardworking and don't have a lot of extra resources. So we developed an onboarding model for our Smart Nurture that in just 12 to 16 weeks gives evidence of causality and ROI back to our university partners, and after that we set the subscription pricing so they can see transparently that the relationship is going to be one where there's both ROI and growth. Our proofs come through random control trials. We often are asked, with all the things we're doing, how do we know that it was your Smart Nurture that made the difference? And in the random control trials, we can show that that Smart Nurture was additive and created the lift. After that, when we go to scale, we do split testing to keep getting better and better results because we are full service. Here's an example of ROI, and again, the ROI is different and the pricing is different on our subscription fee. This happens to be our highest subscription fee. But again, net, the ROI is there for the client. Here's an example of what I'm talking about. When we work with the university system, we are building APIs that exchange information and can direct communications to students. We're agnostic as to how the engagement works, whether it's text or email, or in the future some other methodology. What matters is where you get the highest engagement. And in this case, what you see is a flow of decision points that a new lead is faced with. And the top part is the result that we were able to get. The bottom part is business as usual, meaning that in the control trials, this is what was happening at each touch point for us when we added the smart nurture. So somebody inquires. That means they filled out a form on a website or through a campaign in social media and said, I'm actually interested in going to your college. Within 60 seconds, they receive a quick offer of information about how other students like them might thrive there. And it might be an interactive communication. So in this case, I'm going to use an example of sort of a quick self-survey. The student or the lead will answer questions about their motivation or about how they face challenges. We know those two traits. We know what correlates to success for those traits in that specific university system. So we give them instant feedback that says how they're going to succeed there, or some resource to the university. There's visual ways and text ways that we provide that feedback. And our goal with that one is that more of those students will actually take the text or phone call from the admissions officer who's going to be assigned that lead. Now, our partners can be assigning those leads maybe within 20 minutes. We're there in 60 seconds, and we get more students to actually talk to that person. The next nurture's point is to say, once they've scheduled an interview, there's a big drop-off sometimes of people who will show up to that interview. Now you've got this lead in your system and they're not moving to the next most important step. That will be measured to show that these students will be showing up at the interview at a higher rate. And quite frankly, showing up, this is a behavioral science solution, so they're showing up already more actively engaged, cognitively and emotionally in the decision. And so you can see there's a really big delta there. We had a 10 percentage point improvement, and these are actual results from a university client, for people who showed up to the interview. And they engaged at higher rates in the interview. And they go on to, for those that are deemed appropriate for submitting an application, they apply at a higher rate, they show up at a higher rate, and they become active. Across this whole example, what I want to point out is we're additive to the university's efforts. And so we're keeping the funnel bigger, longer. We're making we have students who move faster. So we also look at the time sequence of this. So the effort and cost of acquisition is going down while the growth is going up. The other thing that's important is that the sequence of smart nurture is not dependent on a student or a lead taking in each nurture. One nurture can create greater activity on the student's behalf, and they may ignore the next one or go into the next one. Part of the thinking behind this is that the students receive it as a reward for what they've done and a new piece of information, a new bit of power, if you will, for making the next decision, which comes from computer gaming's compulsion loop thinking. And Murray's had 30 years in computer gaming as well as other kinds of digital engagement strategy in the software engineering team as well. And so they brought a lot of great new ideas to the table for us. We are not V1, we are V2. I think one of the most important things that we provide that's additive is this primary database that is growing quickly. And with each interaction that we have with a student, we are learning something about that student that is additive to what the university already knows about them. And so in the last 6 months, one of the more exciting advancements to what we've been doing is the ability to flow that information the student provides back to the university leadership or who are doing strategy, what kinds of students are thriving here, but also what kinds of students are coming in, and back to the admissions team, if necessary. So if you think about some other solutions, let's take a bot, for example. There is, I'm going to go straight ahead to this. This is just reinforcing the fact that we built this specifically for higher education. I could talk to that in a second, but what that means, why that matters, is that if you have a really great new system or platform such as a bot, the bot is still providing information the university has had in the past to communicate with the student. You're understanding their question, you're translating it, and getting a typical answer back. We can make a greater precise content back to those students about what would make them more likely to make the decision to come in. This is data that our university partners don't have, and it's proprietary, so the method by which we get that information has been proven and proven over and over and over again, but it adds to what the bot is able to do, or what the texting platform is able to do, or what a dashboard is able to do in terms of sending new and important information to students and getting them in. We are here at the conference. My name is Elena at thevibeffect.com, and Murray at thevibeffect.com. We'd love to talk with you if you have some interest in our invention. Thank you.